You didn't come this far to keep apologizing for who you are. You didn't survive everything you've been through just to water yourself down for someone else's comfort. You didn't wake up again today to keep playing small, to keep hiding your heart, to keep waiting for permission to feel worthy. There comes a moment, a sharp, soul, deep moment, where you stop seeking approval and start owning your truth. And when that moment happens, everything changes. You realize that your softness is not weakness. It's strength with the volume turned down. That your sensitivity is not a flaw. It's the superpower that lets you feel what others are too numb to notice. That your passion, your intensity, your fire, it was never too much. It was never the problem. The problem was that you kept trying to hand it to people who didn't have the capacity to receive it. You spent years asking, why didn't they choose me? Here's the truth. They didn't choose you because they couldn't. Not because you weren't enough, but because you were too real for the version of themselves they were willing to be at the time. It's not your rejection, it's their reflection. Stop giving your power away to people who only show up when it's convenient. Stop chasing hearts that are still figuring out how to beat. Stop breaking yourself into pieces to make other people feel whole. You don't have to be everything to someone who's still unsure if they're ready to be anything real with you. Start with this. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to speak first. You are allowed to want more than breadcrumbs. You are allowed to have standards. And no, they're not too high. They're just a filter for the people who are actually ready to meet you where you are. And if someone feels intimidated by your clarity, let them be. You're not here to babysit insecurity. You're not here to slow down your growth so others feel better about staying the same. You're here to rise. And sometimes that means outgrowing people who were never meant to stay. It's okay to walk away from someone who once felt like home. It's okay to outgrow the version of love that taught you to abandon yourself just to keep the peace. You don't need to explain your standards to people who were never planning to meet them anyway. You don't need to be the one who always gives more. You're not here to rescue. You're here to live, flirting, love, connection. None of it should cost you your peace. If you feel more anxious than empowered, more confused than clear, more exhausted than energized, it's not a connection, it's a lesson. And sometimes the greatest act of self-love is choosing not to prove yourself to someone who doesn't even know what they're looking for. You want someone who shows up, not just checks in. Someone who doesn't just say, I miss you, but makes the effort to see you. Someone who doesn't keep you wondering where you stand. And while you're waiting for that energy, while you're holding space for something real, don't stop showing up for yourself. Fall in love with your own presence. Be the kind of energy you crave. Wake up and move like you're already enough, because you are. Walk into rooms like you deserve to be there, because you do. Speak like your voice matters, because it does. Stop performing. Stop pretending. Start being. You can flirt without losing your depth. You can be lighthearted without being fake. You can be open without being naive. You can love deeply and still walk away when it's not mutual. And that's the kind of woman or man they never forget. Not because you tried to impress them, but because you were brave enough to show up without the mask. Let's talk about that bravery for a moment. There's a kind of courage that doesn't scream. It's quiet. It's the way you still believe in love after being betrayed. It's the way you show up for people, even when you haven't been shown the same effort. It's the way you keep choosing hope when it would be easier to shut down. That's strength. That's beauty. That's resilience. Don't let anyone make you feel weak for caring deeply. That depth, it's what separates you from the crowd. But don't confuse caring with chasing. You don't need to convince anyone to choose you. You don't need to prove you're worth loving. The people who are meant for you will feel it in your energy. They'll hear it in your words. They'll see it in your actions, and they'll show up accordingly. Real connection doesn't require a performance. It invites presence. It doesn't leave you questioning. It gives you clarity. It doesn't pull you into chaos. It brings you peace. You were never meant to be an almost. You were meant to be a never. In doubt, all in, undeniable presence in someone's life. So from now on, you don't lower your standards. You don't dim your fire. You don't over-explain your boundaries. You don't chase what backs away. You attract what aligns, and if that means walking alone for a while, so be it. Solitude with peace is better than connection with confusion. You flirt differently when you know who you are. You speak differently when you're not trying to be picked. You love differently when you realize your love is not a bargaining chip, it's a gift. So here's the new way. Flirt because you're joyful, not needy. Speak because you have something to say, not something to prove. Love because it's who you are, not because you're hoping someone else will finally see you. You are enough, not when they say so, not when they choose you, not when they finally text back. You're enough now, as you are. And the moment you own that, the world starts responding to your energy in a whole new way.